Question A for Taxperts says, refer to the information presented under the heading Peter Blakely. Write an email to Peter in which you discuss all the tax implications pertaining to the events and transactions presented. Now, write an email, guys, so make sure you use that format. You need to discuss, and they tell you all the tax implications. Now, be careful when you see it. Don't just read past the word. That means it's income tax, it's dividends tax, it's VAT, it's donations tax, it's withholding taxes, whatever the case might be that might be applicable. You should consider all of them. Doesn't mean that there's no dividends tax in this case necessarily we're going to discuss because we're not a company and so forth. But yeah, just be aware of it. They say you are required to clearly distinguish between the period before 1 June and the period thereafter, and no marks will be awarded for calculations. However, you are required to calculate and show the amounts that Peter would use in his calculations. So you won't get a mark for saying proceeds is base cost, but you'll get a mark for saying what is proceeds, what is base cost. That's basically what we're saying here. Okay, so let's go back to the question. Now guys, that's a 30-mark discussion question. It's not, it has been done like that, even for 40 marks in the past. So be aware it can be done. Okay, so let's talk about this Peter Blakely story again. I'm just going to start a little bit fresh here and just show you it all comes back down from understanding what the process is. So here's the 1st of June. This is the period before the 1st of June and the period after the 1st of June. This period here, he was a non-resident. This period over here, he's a resident. Okay. For income tax, that means for the non-resident, only South African source is taxed. For income tax, here it's worldwide, just basically, but just gives everything everywhere. Okay, remember now, here deemed disposal at market value as a non-resident, except for immovable property in South Africa and permanent establishment assets in South Africa. Over here, deemed to buy assets at market value as a resident, which means thus that's the new base cost or the deemed base cost. And again, it's except for these ones because they were just not treated as they were sold. Okay, so just the standard logic. Now guys, what we've got here is enough to answer everything. So you will say, for the period before the 1st of June, he was a non-resident, he was only taxed South African source. For the period after South Africa, he was a resident, he's taxed on his worldwide income. You'll talk about at the time that he becomes a non-resident, becomes a resident, in terms of paragraph 12, he is required to dispose of all of his assets at market value except for these assets, and he's treated as being boarded back as a resident at market value. Now, once you've said that, those are all marks you get, and now you're just going to apply it. So, we'll talk about now the period before, we'll talk about what might happen on the 1st of June, and we'll talk about the period as a resident. Okay guys, so you've got the written solution there and everything, so I'm not going to write out everything, let's talk about it. So, the flat in London is a foreign asset. This means, and it's not immovable property in South Africa. So this means the flat in London was treated as it was sold at its market value on the 1st of June and then bought at its market value on the 1st of June as a resident. Okay? So, basically, for the period before he became a resident, before 1 June, there's nothing for South African tax that we have to worry about. Then, on immigration, there's nothing that we have to worry about. There's nothing that gets taxed, but there's a new base cost. And that new base cost is this £210,000. Then after 1 June, these are all after 1 June, worldwide income. So this will be included in his gross income. This monthly rental will be taxed in his gross income, so you'll say that. You'll then say it's in a foreign currency. He can choose in terms of Section 25D to do it at spot or average, and he has chosen that he wants to do the average exchange rate. So you will translate that 1,200 at the average exchange rate for the year of 18 rands 90. Right, he then sells the flat in London to a person in the UK for 218. Paragraph 43(1) says, because the selling price, the proceeds is in a foreign currency, and because the currency, the base cost is in a foreign currency, you calculated the capital gain or loss in the foreign currency. So 218 less 210 gives us £8,000, and that gets translated at either the spot or the average if you're a natural person, and that's all contained in paragraph 43, and he chose the average exchange rate, so you will translate it at the average exchange rate. So that is it for that flat. Then the shares in Trupo, foreign shares, right? So what happens to this? Before the 1st of June, he receives some residence. He's a non-resident, and it's a foreign share. So there's no South African tax implications like we saw there. Then, when he becomes a resident, on the 31st of August, they pay 800,000 rands to him. So that will be included in gross income. There's then a Section 10B3 exemption. Section 10B3 because he owes less than 10%, which is the 800,000 times 25 over 45, or whatever that amount is. That is allowed as the exemption. Right? On the date of immigration, when a non-resident becomes a resident, so on this date again, guys, he is treated as if he sold all those shares, so foreign shares at their market value, and is treated as if he bought it at market value. So you would obviously just talk about it. So let's just go and see. That means that he's treated as if he bought it for 750,000. That's the new base cost. Then it's an African bank account, right? So first of all, this is quickly, it's a bank account, it's a cash amount. So on the date of immigration here, when he immigrates, there will be no disposal. Why? Because it's currency. You don't pay CGT on currency. Right, so there's no disposal on immigration. The amount, this was from a South African source because it's paid by a South African, and just as a little bit of a reference to you, that's section 9(2)(b, that says it's from a South African source. So this amount, when he was a non-resident, was included in his gross income, and it was 100% exempt under section 10(1)(h). There was no withholding tax payable on it because it's paid by a South African bank. Remember again, if it was not a South African bank, and it's not one of the other ones listed as an exemption in section 50D, then you would have calculated withholding tax of 15% on that amount. Then, the 13,475 is when he's a resident, so that gets included in his gross income, and it's exempt under section 10(1)(i). Then the house in Cape Town. So, the house in Cape Town is immovable property in South Africa. So what's important to understand here is that here on the 1st of June, nothing happens because it is immovable property in South Africa. So that was subject to CGT all throughout. So if you had bought it before the 1st of June, that would be the base cost. We don't calculate a new base cost here on the 1st of June for the period after 1 June. That's basically what that just takes us to. So it says, he inherited the house from Cape Town from his grandfather. Nice, that's the base cost, 1.4 million. On the 31st of May, it's 1550, that we don't care about. And they tell you it was sold, proceeds sold for 1.6 million. So that's basically what will happen there. So guys, just to take you quickly to the solution, I've discussed everything, and you'll see it's basically just really just writing it down. I made a general discussion over here, where we talk about the period before and from 1st of June, that you're resident and non-resident, just with the normal implications, the income tax implications. I put it down the capital gains tax implications here, of what is subject to CGT, but there could maybe be a mark there as well. Right, I just talk about what happens for immigration. You can see these are all just one mark, and basically everything in bold is what you could have written. So you can say per paragraph 12C, there must have been a deemed disposal. Right, that's where it'll come. Then from the 1st of June, we talk about the fact that gross income is going to be worldwide, and we talk about how the CGT is calculated. And then we talk about the specific ones, and we talk for each of them, the flat in London, before the 1st of June, on the 1st of June, or on the immigration, and from the 1st of June. And we do that for each of those. And it's exactly what we discussed, guys. So if you haven't worked through it yet, then obviously this might be a bit much for you, but once you've worked through it, you should have worked through it in any case before watching the video. Of course, naughty. But otherwise, work through it again then properly, and then rewatch this part of the recording, because you'll see it does cover all of those things there.